right.
You're right.
You look at me every time like you want me to start.
I sometimes I want to start speaking, and then I don't want to interrupt you if you start, because imagine how unprofessional that would sound.
Do you know how you look at me though when you do it? Like you need a shit. You're like, Stephen, talk.
I'm just like, it's just anticipation. Every time I need a poo, it's just a feeling of anticipation throughout
You did a
my
poo
body.
earlier. I walked past and I could see the door shut. And I was like, Alex is
I
doing
thought
a poo.
you could hear the flush of the toilet.
No, I just could tell because the door was shut.
It was just after I flushed the toilet that you messaged me saying stop shitting. And I was
was
like,
like-
I can't.
I was like, he's either doing a poo or he's having a shower, and I'm going to climb in the kitchen window and join him, whichever one it is.
Or it's both.
Like I did when you were on holiday.
You did not. Stop
I did.
lying.
It was sloppy, so no bricks got left in your toilet.
For fuck's sake. Listen, this is BeardWags. Welcome back. This is episode number 11, but this is what the idea that I had, okay? People might subscribe to us on YouTube, fucking not on YouTube, on iTunes, and see, oh shit, there's 10 episodes to catch up on. I'm not going to bother with that. So if you're thinking of starting here, this is who we are. My name's Alex.
My name's Steve.
And we are the
BeardWags.
And what that means is we are two bearded, slightly out of shape British guys who like to talk about geeky things that interest them, sometimes things that don't interest them, mostly just things we enjoy talking about.
Yeah, and emails. People email us
And
in.
emails. We like to talk about emails.
We like to talk. I got an email from Viagra today, and I was like, I'm going to talk about that.
And I replied, they only asked for my card details, and I didn't think it would matter because it's on email.
Dear Mr. White, do you want a Cockzilla? If you do, reply.
Cockzilla.
Yeah, I got an email from a company called Cockzilla.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Made me do a laugh.
Forward that to me, would
Yeah,
you?
well.
Okay.
I ordered us both a case because I figured we both
A case
need it.
each, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad always used to tell this joke about, he said, I got a Viagra stuck in my throat and I had a stiff neck for hours. That's such a dad joke.
Your dad's sexy.
I know. Oh, no, not I know. I mean, what?
I totally know.
Okay, listen. So that's who we are. If you're just tuning in now, we mainly just shoot the shit.
Yeah, I need to take my jumper off. It's all hot.
It is really quite hot in here. I closed the window.
We're both wearing geeky t-shirts too.
Well, yours is cooler. Yours is Ren and Stimpy. Mine's Iron Man.
But Iron Man's cool. Ren and Stimpy's better. I reckon Ren and Stimpy would win in a fight.
Do you know, I wore this t-shirt to work the other day, and one of the ladies on the sales team was like, my son has that same t-shirt. I was like, oh, cool. And she's like, yeah, he's 9.
Yeah.
So I felt
My son has those pajamas.
I know.
Oh.
That's what I wanted to do. This is the kind of thing you can expect. We try and talk about something and often go off in weird tangents.
Yeah, quite often I make pages of notes and then manage to get around to like 2 of the things. But that's fine because it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're here to have fun. So just shut up and stop complaining and just listen.
Do you know what, though? You said slightly overweight, and I think we should address that.
I said slightly out of shape.
Out of shape, sorry. Because when we started off, we were like 2 slightly overweight guys, act all opinionated in front of Mike. That was kind of our tagline. I've adopted that because it's pretty good.
It is.
But we not for long.
Not for long.
No, because we're both losing, aren't we?
You're losing like fucking nobody's business.
I'm giving an update in the last episode. I think I did the one before. So, as of Monday just gone, what was the date on that Monday? Something.
Wait, fuck, what is it today? Thursday the 21st, so it was Monday the 18th.
Yeah, so on Monday the 18th, I had my I do Slimming World if you're new, and if you listen, you know that. But I do Slimming World, and my 7th weigh-in, and I've lost 26 pounds, which is
awesome,
two pounds shy of 2 stone.
That is really good.
I got my it hit my 10% of my body weight, which is at the point apparently your body starts changing for medication and stuff.
Oh.
So it's called like Club 10.
I'll tell you where you look thinner. Well, you do in general, but in the face.
Yeah, a few people have said that. I'm glad, because do you know what? The belly was always an issue anyway, because I've got quite all right legs, but then you hit my belly and it's like a fucking like hangover muffin.
Well, I look at you sometimes from the feet up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would fuck you, I would fuck you, I would fuck you, I would fuck you. Belly, maybe not so much. I would fuck you, I would fuck you.
Yeah. But and
that's a joke, by the way.
You totally would fuck me. The only thing that has always gotten to me really badly, like, you know, sometimes when you're a bit overweight, you occasionally get a bit depressed about it.
Oh yeah, sometimes.
But like, occasionally look in the mirror and go, "Oh, my chin!" Like this bit here has always been like
That annoys. That's part of the reason I have a beard, because it kind of
It covers it up, doesn't it?
makes it look like
Yeah.
your beard's bigger.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I'm actually I'm.
You're not too. You're cool. You're looking good.
Thank you, man. I'm losing face weight too. I think because
Yeah.
I'm squeezing this little bit of chin right here, and it's going away.
I used to be able to get a handful of fat under here.
Really?
Like, big old. It was
Do
big,
it now.
big-
You can't.
But just sort of grab a little
It's
bit.
true. Like you do. Yeah.
They say you don't notice on yourself until you hit 2 stone, and then after that you start to notice.
Well, that's it. You're starting to notice.
The only thing I've really noticed properly is my shorts keep falling down. It's really
Hey.
annoying because I can't be bothered to find a belt.
Yeah, but
It's lazy, isn't it?
do you not wear one normally?
Not on my shorts.
I don't like wearing trousers or shorts without a belt. Even if I don't need one, I feel like it completes the ensemble.
I wear short trousers with a belt, but I don't like them on shorts. But I was walking to the swim pool, not these shorts I got on the moment, but I got another pair that are checked.
Were you like?
They were nearly falling off my arse.
That's
I had
really
to keep
cool.
holding them up. I was like walking there. Did I tell you about the time when I went swimming and forgot to take a pair of shorts to wear home?
No.
So I walked home with a towel wrapped around with my underwear on.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no kidding.
You must have looked like probably everyone else in Worthing.
Yeah, they were like, there goes the regular crackhead.
Oh, there's fucking Towel
No,
Joe over
like,
there.
The swimming. I should have just, in retrospect, should have just worn the swimming shorts and like
But
walked it off.
what time of the year was it?
Well, it wasn't freezing, but it wasn't warm either.
Well,
but
you would have caught your death, Stephen.
I put the swimming shorts in my bag, and I was like, looking through it, and I was like, fuck, all I bought was like a t-shirt, a jumper, and my swimming shorts. I had underwear. So I was like,
Oh, you wore your swimming shorts to the.
yeah, I normally do. So I put the boxers on, and I was like, well, I can't walk home in boxers, so I just wrapped the towel around me. And I was like, right, I'm not walking home, I'll get a bus. I very rarely do that, but I was like, I'll get a bus. And as I got on, he went, you all right, mate? I went, yeah, I left my shorts at home. And he just laughed. And we both did a little chuckle together. And then we had sex. Wait, no.
They can't add every story, and we had sex, especially not in interviews.
No, yeah, that was what happened.
Give me an experience of some time that you've had sex.
Yeah. No,
we should write a porn together.
Oh, God. Yeah,
That'd
so
be funny.
£26, £2 away from 2 stone.
Dude, that's really impressive.
Between me and my partner, we've won Slimmer of the Week 5 weeks in a row.
They must fucking hate you there.
Well, the thing is, someone lost more than her this week, but you can't get it if you gained weight the week before, which is fair enough.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if you gain weight and then lose it, that's not losing, is it? So
no.
because we consistently lose weight, like this week I only lost 2.5 pounds, but that's still good. Like 2.5 pounds is better than
Yeah.
no pounds.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
she
really
won
good.
it. I think they do hate us.
Hey, Charlie,
All right.
come here. We're doing a recording, and I want to tell you something, but you have to be into the mic so you can be like, hey, cool. Ready?
Is it about your cock?
Oh, no. Not this time.
Hey Charlie, I've got to show you something. Slip this digit in.
This is Charlie, my girlfriend. She's come home with a vanilla iced latte.
Where's-
Hello, everyone.
Where's mine?
Here you go.
No, it's all right.
No.
I don't want it.
Listen, guess what?
What?
Steve has lost 26 pounds.
No way.
I have.
You have to speak into the...
They can hear it. It's fine.
No way.
Yeah.
That's nearly 2 stone.
Yeah, £2 away in 7 weeks.
And I think a lot of it's face weight. Can you see the face difference?
That's like the weight of a child.
It is.
What,
Which is
2
good because
stone?
going onto the diet, I cut children straight out of my diet,
Yeah, I stopped eating kids.
which is where I lost all the weight.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Good times there.
Right, see ya.
See you later.
Nice to
Thanks for
thank you
dropping in.
Yeah,
Should we get Ali on sometime?
yeah.
Yeah. Shall we record a BeardWags orgy?
I think we should with Charlie and Ali.
Yeah. And the cats.
The Wags of BeardWags.
Yeah,
They were going to
exactly.
do that.
They should do a podcast themselves. I'd listen to it.
I would.
I've got time to listen to Ali and Charlie.
I like their voices together.
Mm.
I think it's nice.
Yeah.
Should we do some emails?
Well, we only got one that needs answering on this here podcast.
Who's it from?
It's from Harry Clay.
Ah, H-Boss.
Yeah, he won the book.
He did, and do you know what? I feel really embarrassed because we were like, oh, I can't remember who won it last time. And we sort of knew it was him. We're sorry, dude. Like, I know you've been like really kind in listening and actually giving us the time of day to listen to us. And we fucking forgot that you'd won the prize.
Yeah, sorry, that's bad.
But listen,
It's on its way.
it's on its way to
It is
you,
on its way.
buddy.
We've sorted it out.
We haven't snogged it. I think we said we were going to snog the book, but
I
we
put
didn't.
my balls on it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awkward because I did snog it. And I was like, this book tastes like balls.
So it's like you've kissed my balls in a way.
Well, yeah, I mean, an even better example of that was when I actually kissed your balls.
That was a good Saturday.
And I kissed your balls, and you were like, "Hey, it's just like you've kissed my balls." I was like,
I was
know.
like, remember that time when you kissed my balls straight afterwards?
Literally just now.
He says, because he said, I'll ask you a random question.
He said, like, I think a while ago, he said, "Oh, if you like, I'll send you a random question each episode," which that's really nice of you, man. Thanks. Keep it up.
Yeah, because then if we, like, I won't say we'll read them out every week because, you know, when we get obscenely popular, I'll completely forget about you, mate. But no,
we
I'm
won't
joking.
get obscenely popular or do that.
I'm already really popular. I move in quite important circles like me old mum.
They're called rings, and they're called paedophile rings.
Oh, yeah. He said, if you could trade lives with one person for an entire day, who would it be and what would you do?
Ah, okay. If you could trade lives with a person for a day,
An entire day.
An
It says
entire day. Okay. Do they have to be alive right now? I'll tell you who mine would be.
They
If they're
would,
alive-
because if you traded lives with them now, you'd be dead.
Oh yeah, I'd be like rotting in the ground.
Well, let's say you
Right.
can go back in time.
So
a bit.
no, we've done the time travel one. Let's
Oh,
say
yeah.
it has to be alive.
Okay,
today.
they have to be alive now.
For me, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah?
To
Would
see-
you change what he does?
Ah,
Would you be nicer to the Koreans?
Well, I feel like if it's just for a day, you could change everything, and then it all gets fucked up when he comes back.
Kill him.
Kill myself.
Yeah.
But then would I die with him?
Well, like the Matrix, when you're plugged in, if you die in the Matrix, if you die in King Jong-un, you die in the real world.
What I would do. Here's a good point. Oh yes, I've solved the problem of North Korea.
You
I
would
would put
not
my-
believe how excited you just looked.
I would put myself in a glass tank as Kim Jong.
Yeah.
In a glass tank with no holes in whatsoever, just one to let water in. I'd let water in, work it out at a rate that fills up reaches the top where you can't breathe in exactly 24 hours. So when it gets to the time is up, I go out of his body, finish being him for a day, and he is back in himself when he drowns. So he dies as himself.
He dies as himself, but you're still a murderer.
Well, he's a murderer. I'm gonna fucking.
That's fine.
I don't know if does that count of killing someone, because I definitely couldn't kill someone. I don't think I would ever want to kill someone.
No, I don't think I could either. I mean, if there was someone around who might deserve it, it would probably be him or David Cameron. No, I'm joking.
I think there's a slight difference in.
Yeah, they got the same haircut though.
They do actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like Kim Jong Un.
What about you?
What happens to my body when I'm?
Oh fuck no! That means the other person
Kim
goes
Jong
into your
Un
body.
would probably like take over Worthing in a day. Like if you.
Nah, not if you look like me.
But what would you do if you came back and he'd slept with Charlie pretending to be you? Be upset, wouldn't you?
Well, no, because it would still be my body. And
Yeah, but
she
you wouldn't be upset with her because it's not her fault. But
No.
you might be a bit like,
Well, he'd be
Kim
dead anyway.
Jong, what'd
Kim.
you do that for? You scallywag.
That's like a sitcom where, like, you know how it's quite horrific actually, but you know how he killed one of his defense secretary for falling asleep or something.
Yeah,
Imagine that happened and his wife walks in and sees. She's like, Kim,
that
not
should
again.
definitely be a sitcom. Like
Yeah.
he walks in and one of his staff
Kim
members
Jong
is,
Oops or something.
yeah, like some guy's asleep at his desk and he pulls out a gun,
Yeah.
shoots him, and it pans.
That's our Kim.
It pans to him and he goes, meh.
What am I gonna do
Yeah.
about it?
Shrugs and just goes, meh. Like, you know,
Like Tom and Jerry, where they don't speak and it's sort of all
Yeah.
orchestrated like a
that's
sort
all,
of operatic
folks.
thing.
And it pans in on him and he goes, that's all, folks.
Yeah. I'd watch that.
I'd watch it. Let's write it.
Anyway, listen, who would you swap with?
I don't know. I'd like to see what doing a masturbate as a lady would be like.
Yeah, me too. I feel like you'd get more fun from it than a guy.
Yeah, because you can do it. You can carry on doing it.
Yeah.
You can just carry on.
You can just keep going.
Whereas if you're a man, it kind of gets all weird. It feels weird. If
you can't
carry
once you pop, the fun does
you,
stop.
You literally does stop.
It's the opposite of Pringles.
Yeah, and I'm not allowed to eat Pringles anyway. So
So forget the whole
good
thing.
point. Yeah.
So you'd swap with any particular lady?
I was thinking maybe even my lady, and then
Oh.
having sex and being like, "This is what it feels like," and then
Oh,
I'd look at
yeah.
myself on top and be like, "What a monster!"
But she'd be you, like she'd
Yeah.
be in you. In your brain, I mean.
It's like I always thought, now if my girlfriend could split in two, I'd definitely have a threesome with my girlfriend, like two of them.
That actually, believe it or not, that is a really romantic thing to say. We should
in a strange way.
listen. So, you should put that on a birthday card to her and give it to her at a family gathering.
Valentine's Day. Hey, baby, I'd totally have a threesome with you.
There's someone I work with, a friend of theirs, designs greetings cards.
Yeah.
And like they sent a link to it, and they're just quite cool design, quite minimalist and plain, but they're like coloured cards, text on the front. One of them just says, "This is literally the first card I saw."
Yeah.
Another one's like, "I fancy your mum." It just says that on it. Another one just says, "Happy Hanukkah, Jew." And it's just like really blatant messages for specific
Yeah, I remember
occasions.
I got my brother one, and it was like plain, apart from printed on the front in really bold type. It just said "Happy Birthday, fuckface."
Oh, that's awesome. I like that one.
I can't remember what I was going to say.
Who you were going to transform? Oh yeah, Ali.
Yeah, probably. That's it. I wouldn't want to do anything
Oh.
drastic or change the world or anything.
Keep them occupied. This cat keep fucking going on my...
Keep them
But-
occupied.
Yeah.
Look at the shiny, shiny.
Just talk about like... talk about your lady from Fat Fighters, Slimming World.
You want me to do the impression that makes you laugh? It's not like this at all. So if anyone from my Slimming World talks, if you talk, if you listen, at the end of it, she says this thing. Obviously, it's a little joke and it's quite funny and endearing and stuff.
If any of you
And she's-
watch Little Britain, it's kind of like Marjorie Dawes.
Yeah, but
from
she's not
that.
like that at all. She's a
No.
really nice lady. But at the end, do you want me to do it normally first, and then I'll do my impression?
Do your impression
she-
first, and
she-
then normally.
So at the end, she goes, she goes, "I look forward to seeing slightly less of you next week." Like that. And every time I do the impression, I point like some
Yeah,
sort of lunatic.
with both your hands like a T-Rex with tiny
And
arms.
as I usually say, "I look forward to seeing slightly less of you next week." But actually, she just says, "I look forward to seeing slightly less of you next week." And I
She's
think it's a
normal.
really good thing to say. It's really quite funny. But I took it and made it into a joke. So I feel despicable.
She's going to kick you out of Slimming World.
Probably. I don't deserve to be there anyway.
Why?
She's going to be like, "Listen here, you fat fuck."
That is literally the opposite of what she's paid to do.
Yeah. Imagine if she was like, "And as I usually say, don't eat any fucking fat food, you bastards."
And as I usually say, I look forward to all of you fucking off so
Yeah.
I can go and eat a pizza.
Yeah. "Stop eating bacon, fatty."
That's... Oh, I'm going to get that on a T-shirt.
What? "Stop eating bacon, fatty," with a picture of me pointing.
And it could be a reminder for me to stop eating bacon.
I've got something I want to say.
Okay.
That impression's bad. I mean, it makes me laugh because it's so absurd. It's meant to be over the top. After I did it, I was like, I should be in a sketch show. I thought really well of myself. It's like one of the few times where I've gone, "Steve, you're quite a funny bloke."
Well, we're going to have a go at writing some sketches, aren't we?
Yeah,
So stay tuned.
yeah. I want to gauge what kind of interest there would be in a BeardWags t-shirt because I want one for us, but I wonder if other people would like
We've
it.
mentioned it before, but I think we just said, "Oh, we'll have one."
Yeah, well, I wonder if maybe we should do it as a competition. We should get like maybe if they do a deal on getting a few printed, and just get like some people some t-shirts. How about we'll ask a question at the end of this podcast. No, I'm not going to say the winner gets a t-shirt because I don't know when we'll print it. We'll do it closer to the time when we actually get them printed.
Just keep an ear out. We're going to get some T-shirts done.
And if they go well and we get lots of listeners, we could open up our own little BeardWags shop on the website.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Um,
BeardWags merchandise. I want BeardWag dog tags
A
to wear
mug.
around my neck. Yeah,
A
a mug.
mug.
Yeah.
BeardWags mug, BeardWags socks.
And on the
And
on
the socks could have a beard on them.
I was going to say on one side of the mug it could say BeardWags, and on the other side it could say "Have a cup of tea."
Yeah, but then what about the Alex one?
Well, we'll do that on another product.
Okay.
But cup of tea is something I say.
That is one of
Have a
your...
cup of tea.
That is
I'm
your
Alex.
trademark thing to say. When you started chanting caffeine-free, cup of tea.
As my old mum used to say, listen to BeardWags.
I think she still does say that.
Sometimes she's a bit weird though.
She's a nice lady. I've never met her, but I'm sure she is.
She's all right.
So thank you for your email, Harry.
Yeah, cheers, bud.
Look out for your book on the way.
Yeah.
Should we do a quick catch up? We have obviously spoken to each other, but not in front of microphones. So, to keep you updated with what I've been up to quickly. At work, I sold 22 scripts
Oh,
to a
wow.
client. For context, I write scripts for radio commercials for just a local radio station. and I take briefs from clients, people who want to advertise, write scripts, go back and present them. For this one client, I wrote 21 and went back and presented them, and she said, yeah, we'll have them all. Made the amendments
Wow.
and stuff and whatever. And I learnt today that is a record for the whole company, which is a nationwide
That's
company.
amazing. Well done.
In scripts sold. So I'm like, I don't usually boast. I'm just quite proud of myself.
Yeah,
and I
you
feel
should
like
be. You
it's
show
a
off.
good achievement. Thank you very much.
No, that's good, man. That's well
Um,
good.
It's wicked, and I feel like it was a sort of a boost I needed to get me back on my feet.
All for the local dump.
Yeah, yeah. It was actually.
All for Viagra.
Yeah, it was for Cockzilla.
Imagine that.
Um,
If things are getting iffy, you need a stiffy.
that's such a good slogan. Wait, what else?
Don't be a retard. Make your cock hard.
Yeah. Don't fucking. Wait, no, I've nearly got it.
He is a scriptwriter, I promise you. When he sits down and thinks about it, he can write things. Although he's not good on the top of his head, it seems like.
So you'd have like a table, and then you'd have like a business card,
Yeah.
and the person selling the Viagra would say, "Hey, nice to meet you. Here's a table for me to put my card on. Looks like you, sir, need a hard on."
I like it. I thought of mine a lot quicker, so I'm going to say I won this one.
You did, yeah.
That's good, though. I was going to think you were going to go in the position of, when someone gets a hard, like that gag that happens in sitcoms where they get a boner and they get stuck under the table,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, what else is another
That
word
table
for a
looks
boner?
really unstable.
What else is another word for a boner? Oh, boner, I guess.
Boner, hard,
Don't be a
plank.
loner. Get a boner.
Yeah.
We should write slogans for Viagra.
I
don't mean to undersell us here because I think we're worth more than that, but there's a good starting
But I
point.
think it would be funny.
I do as
Email
well.
in your suggestions for slogans for Cockzilla.
Yeah. That's a weird thing to ask, but do it anyway.
I think that's a good- I think
beardwags@gmail.com.
that's a good thing to ask.
I think
yeah,
you're right.
beardwags@gmail.com. Put in the subject Cockzilla.
Okay. Do that.
That was really anticlimactic.
I know. Meanwhile,
Do you
what
wanna-
else?
Do you want to talk about some things?
Well, I wanted to just update you what else I've been up to.
Yeah. Oh, you've not done showing off yet.
No, it's not even showing off. And you haven't updated
Oh,
me with what you're up
What
to.
I did was I sold 21 adverts, and then the following day I sold 150, and now I'm the record holder in the world.
Yeah, so fuck everybody else.
No, you tell me what else you've done, then I'll tell you what I've done.
I got really drunk in Brighton last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't even drink that much. I just drank what I usually would to get drunk. But because I hadn't got drunk in quite a long time, I got very drunk. Fell asleep on the train back. My girlfriend was up in London for the day. She was getting the last train back as well, which got in about an hour after I got in.
Yeah.
Got home, got a text from her saying, my phone's about to run out of battery. Are you going to meet me at the station? And I was like, all I remember doing was replying saying, I don't know, I'm pretty drunk. And then next thing I know, I woke up and it was 2 a.m. and she was in bed next to me. I was like, fuck, because that is really bad form. I forgot to go and pick up my girlfriend
Jolly
in the dark.
bad form, old chap.
Old chap. I fucking...
Don't say form. What are you, like a 50-year-old?
It's
was
just nice.
bad
It's
form.
just nice words to use.
I don't like nice words. I like horrible words.
Like beaver. It was bad beaver.
No, it was bad form.
It was. I felt guilty. Luckily, she's a legend and wasn't annoyed at me.
She said she wasn't, but then after you'd gone, she was like, "That fuck." She said I saw her, and she's like, "That
You're such a
fucking
bad
dick."
liar. You get so excited and try and do about 6 lies at once.
That means I'm a good liar. I try and do multiple lies.
But it was really good fun because there were it was obviously because it's Brighton. You're not going to be surprised when I say there were people playing frisbee in the park, and we was sat in the park drinking.
You were right at home with the hipsters in Brighton.
And this guy, and he threw the frisbee. They were really good because they were about 60 meters apart, winging the frisbee one-handed, and it went in the perfect arc to the other guy. And one time though, it didn't, and it came towards me. I was like, "This is your time to shine, Farnham." And I got up and I was like, "Me!" And I went to grab it, and this guy whose frisbee it was jumped right in front of me and grabbed it out of my reach.
Did he say anything to you?
No, I don't think he saw me. He was just in the zone.
Ah, right.
I was just really sad.
The zone frisbee is so lame.
Oh, it's fun to play.
It's fun to play occasionally.
Yeah, if you're a baby.
Yeah, it's fun to play if you're a square. No, it's all right, but I just kind of think, do you know what I'd rather be throwing? A whistling Nerf ball. So
Do you know what I'd
pisses
rather be
everyone off.
throwing? A
Well,
party. A wild
that
party.
sounded really camp.
I know. I did it on
A
purpose.
sausage party.
I really like cocktail sausages dipped in honey.
That's good.
Yeah.
I prefer them dipped in sweet chili. And when I say that, I mean my cocktail sausage dipped in sweet chili.
Oh, that's why it stings.
Yeah.
That's out of context. Before we started recording, Steve was telling me about his willy was stinging.
I just said, for our male listeners, do you ever go for a wee? And obviously you're not unhygienic. Like, I give my willy a little shake off and a dry on your towels. No, I'm joking.
Fuck you.
But then about 10 minutes later, it just randomly stung for about 2 seconds and it hurt. And I was like...
Your urine's too acidic.
Yeah.
You need to drink more water.
Today I've drunk loads. I drank like...
Okay, drink less water.
One whole mouthful of water today.
And it was from the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. It's from your toilet, funnily enough. No, I don't. Yeah, it probably was too acidic. But it doesn't happen. It's only happened once today.
Well, I hope it's okay.
I'm sure it will be.
Just pour some milk on it. Milk neutralizes acidity.
Well, do you want to suck it and see if it works properly?
No. I don't.
But what I do want to... Go on.
My last... Go on, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that sounds like a good day in Brighton.
What?
The day you had in Brighton.
Oh, right. I thought you were still on about stinging penises.
It sounds like you had a good day in Brighton.
It was good. And also, just quickly, what else I've been up to recently is watching Parks and Rec from the beginning. I've just watched season 1 and 2.
I don't
and
like that
3.
show.
Huh?
Don't like it.
Why? Yes, you do, you liar.
I've only seen the first half of series 1. I only started watching it recently.
It only really gets good after series 1.
So everyone said series 2 is where it really shines. But it's okay so far.
It's all right. On series 1 to 3 is now on Amazon.
Yes, that's why I've been watching it. I've been watching it on bed.
In bed.
On bed.
On bed.
On the bed. When I wake up early in the morning when Ali goes to work, but I don't quite want to get up. So I'm like, I'll watch a bit of Parks and Recreation in bed.
It's good.
That's what I say as well.
And it used to be only season 1 on Amazon Prime. And
how many is there? 5?
Video. And no, there's more than that. I think there's 6.
Oh, 6.
But 1 to 3 are now full free on Amazon Instant Video.
Good.
So that's what I've been up to.
Nice.
What about you? Apart from the Slimming World.
Do you know what I watched last night? Interstellar.
Okay. Oh, have you got it on Blu-ray now?
No, my buddy bought it over because he's got it and I haven't.
Oh, sick.
Because I arranged to meet up with him ages ago and he was like, oh, I want to watch it. But he wasn't sure his missus would like it. So I said, bring it around and we'll watch it.
Everyone would like it.
I fucking love it. I mean, I've seen it twice in IMAX, in the big IMAX and the small IMAX.
Yeah.
It's just moving.
Because you'd already seen it when we went to see it, hadn't you?
I saw it in the big IMAX. And Blu-rays come with UV codes. He doesn't use it. So I was like, please, mate, can I have your UV code? I want to watch it on my phone. That. Yeah, and he let me have it.
I like the UV code thing.
Yeah, I've got loads on mine. So I was like, can I have it? And then I was like, last night when I got into bed, I very nearly watched it again after already watching it like half an hour before.
Oh man, it's such a fucking
And Ali
film.
sat and watched a bit with us before she went to bed. And she went to bed after the bit, the bit where they first go down to a planet and they do their calculations wrong. So it's like 27 years instead of 7.
Spoilers.
If you haven't seen it, go fucking watch it. But and the bit where he's got 27 years of messages to watch and it's really sad.
Oh man.
Like she was crying.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'm going to go to bed. I was like,
it was so sad.
Oh my God, it makes me...
I haven't bought it yet because I don't know why I haven't.
But I love it.
Well,
and
Charlie
I want to watch it all the time.
So I want to watch it with her and I want to like watch her watching it. You know when you love something and you watch your other half watching it and you're like, oh, you're enjoying it too.
That's why I like watching movies with my mates sometimes that they haven't seen because it's just seeing their reaction, like seeing how much they enjoy it.
Speaking of film.
Yep.
In the last episode, we promised to review Age of Ultron.
Go on then. You can start.
Okay.
Stop looking at your phone.
I'm sorry, it just lit up.
You're like a dog. You are really...
That's what everyone says.
You're like, something happens and you perk up and you start looking around.
I know.
Like that in Ponderland. Oh, something happened. They put him on my knee and... something happened.
Something happened.
Yeah.
I was extremely excited when I went to see this film. And I was more excited going in than I was going out.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad film. I do think it's a very good film. I think it's a necessary film for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But something about it, or maybe it was something about me, it didn't have as much charm as the first one.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know why I think that is? It's because
We're older.
No, I don't. I will never be. You're wearing an Iron Man t-shirt. You're never going to grow up.
Man.
I'm wearing a t-shirt from a cartoon from the 90s that most people haven't heard of these days. The first one was a spectacle that you'd never seen before, all these heroes together.
Yeah.
And all the films in phase 1 led up to it, but they weren't trying too hard to set the Avengers up. They operate on their own as a separate film. The Avengers 2 is essentially just a setup for the next phase of Marvel. And it spends too much time setting up what's to come rather than dealing with what's happening. It's a filler movie.
I found everything was too worked out. Like it was an equation. Like you never felt like there was any real threat with Ultron because you were like, well, they're going to solve it.
He is a robot that has access to everything. And I know the whole nuclear codes thing was dealt with, but he could have been so much more disruptive than building an army and trying to blow up the world. Like
there was surprise, and I never thought I would say this, but it needed more collateral damage. Like it needed him to take out
threat. Yeah.
He needed to take out a few cities with, especially if they're leading up to civil war. You need some more damage to actually amount to that.
Ultron needed to kill. I mean, I'm not being morbid, but he needed to wipe out a few cities. He needed to. He never felt as good as he was. He was very funny, and his script was very well. It made you laugh, and he was fairly sinister, but he was never sinister enough to be a main villain.
He wasn't half as good as Loki as a bad
not
guy.
At all. Although I'm glad they're kind of toning down Loki a little bit because it was a bit much. He was the villain in sort of 2 movies.
Where is he now? I can't remember. After Thor 2, he's just
disappeared, didn't he?
Disappeared, didn't? Yeah.
Or did he? No, he faked his death, didn't he? And
yeah,
at the end of Thor 2, he was Odin. Do you remember he's talking to Thor, and then at the end he transforms back into Loki?
Fuck. That's gonna kick off.
The problem with Ultron is, like you say, the threat's not big enough. And I read a really good article on Marvel villains that basically said most of them are just there as cannon fodder. The only villains who really get to you and serve a big purpose are ones like the Winter Soldier, because Captain America has a personal connection with him, whereas and Loki because he's Thor's brother, and also he's very well balanced as a villain. You feel empathy for him at points, and he can be a good guy as well. But whereas Ultron ultimately boiled for this all-powerful being that can hack into everything in the world, boiled down to I'm going to blow the world up, and I think that's boring.
Yeah, I think it is too.
I was underwhelmed. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. To me, the most excited I was in the prologue when they all lined up together. I know you thought it was cheesy, but I really liked that.
I can see why people like it.
It brought a childhood excitement. I was like, fucking yeah, get them Avengers, get that fucking Hydra scum.
I think one of the reasons we work as a partnership is because you are very open to anything. Generally, like you are fairly happy with most stuff, and that's not a bad thing.
Well, I think sometimes it is a bad thing that I am not critical enough.
Yeah.
I like too many things.
I am overly critical, and I think that's probably a good thing. A lot of the time you do say things to me like, oh, stop being so critical, and it is a good thing because I can tend to get a bit.
Well, you said like we said to each other, like you say to me, you need, be more critical, and I think that's what makes us a good partnership.
But you are right from the point of view of, I mean, I've been reading comic books for Christ knows how long, and he doesn't even exist, and he doesn't know how long. Yeah, but from that point of view, definitely, thinking about it critically afterwards, I thought it was a bit cheesy, but at the time, it made me tingle with excitement. Is the truth, and
made me tinkle with excitement
for all of its flaws. And I'm not going to pretend it isn't a flawed movie, because I think, unfortunately, and I think I've already said, I think its biggest flaw is it's trying too hard to set up more Marvel movies, and the Avengers is meant to be the linchpin of the series, so it's meant to, everything else can maybe do a bit of setup, but the Avengers needs to exist as a separate movie. It needs to be a big threat that they all come together to destroy, not Thor's going to go off and look in the reflecting pool and that's going to set up the next movie, and Captain America's going to set up Civil War, and it was too much setup, sadly.
I agree with you.
The first film is stronger because it doesn't try too hard to make all the other Marvel movies relevant. It is its own thing.
It is, and you can watch it without... Well, I think actually that isn't entirely Marvel's fault. Well, it is, but they have now a duty of responsibility to the cinematic universe that they tried so hard to set up. So imagine if they'd have ignored everything
I'm
going on.
not saying
in
ignore
the
it, but I'm
background.
just saying don't use your biggest movie in the franchise to set up more movies.
No.
Use the smaller movies to do it. That's fine.
Listen, let's face it. This is okay. I will be skeptical now
Yeah.
and critical. The Avengers script and the Avengers film could have been a load of shit.
Yeah.
But as long as Joss Whedon was directing it, and as long as it was an Avengers film, everyone would have loved it. There's no way that people would have come out of that film going, "Oh, that was shit."
Do you know what I do feel though? A little bit that Whedon let himself down a little bit. It wasn't his best.
Yeah, I
It
mean
wasn't
that's
his
what
best.
I've said this about Whedon. He's not the best thing in the world.
No,
like,
of course
he's a
he
good
isn't.
director. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's Joss Whedon, so it's good."
He's not even I would say he's a better script writer than director in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
He's a
definitely.
part. Don't get me wrong. To balance a movie that goes on to make $1 billion in like the first one and now the second one, it takes talent.
Yeah.
But his talent really lies in strong characterization. And loath as I am to admit it, given all the hating on the internet, I agree that he let Black Widow down in this movie.
Yes.
She became a very weak character, and she didn't feel like the Black Widow you'd watched in all the other movies.
I don't agree that she I don't agree with the thought process that she is a bad woman. She is like, she's let down feminists across the world.
She hasn't let down feminists. She's just
No,
and it's not even her fault. I just think they made her. I
it
like
was
the
too much. It was too much of, "Oh, I hope Bruce kisses me today."
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying she shouldn't have a love interest because that would be unfair. Because you can't, just because you're a feminist and you're a woman doesn't mean you can't love a man.
Yeah.
But like you say, it was a bit too much like oh bloody hell, Dr. Banner.
But here we
I'm
go.
excited.
This is how I excuse it, and I think this is a good analogy of it. So, you've got Thor, the Hulk, Iron Man, and Captain America.
Yeah.
All of whom in the Avengers 2 are engrossed in their superhumanity, I guess you want to call it. The Hulk with his "how can I there's nowhere where I fit in."
Yeah.
Thor with his "I'm going to these reflecting pools."
Which was boring.
Iron Man like, "I am a god because I've created artificial intelligence." And Captain America with like, "I don't like it when people play God and I have the power to stop that and represent everything that is right." On the other hand, you have Samuel L. Jackson, who I like, who is hardly in it at all.
Yeah,
He
good.
turns up. You've got Nat, a.k.a. Black Widow, and you've got, or Auntie Nat to
Yeah.
Hawkeye's
Hawkeye
family.
was
And
the
you've-
best thing about the film.
And you've got Hawkeye, and I think all of those characters represent humanity.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I think it would be sexist to deny that Nat, Black Widow, as a lady, has urges that she wants to fall in
Oh,
love.
of course, she wants.
And I know you're not doing that, but people on the internet have.
Yeah, of course. Why shouldn't she be allowed to have a love interest? I feel like it's a little bit of. I agree with you.
Yes.
Although I think the strength in that movie came with Hawkeye, not Black Widow.
Hawkeye was awesome.
I think he showed humanity a little bit better than Black Widow because he has the family, and I don't know, that moment where he's with his wife and he's kind of like, she's like, they need you more than you need them sort
I
of thing.
was sure, spoilers by the way, I was sure that his family were going to die. Either him
Yeah,
or
I
his
felt
family
that.
were going to die. And I think they clearly wanted you to think that.
Yeah.
It's the vulnerability of humanity. That's what they wanted to show. Scarlett Johansson's vulnerability as falling in love, and Jeremy Renner's vulnerability of being in love and having a family.
Yeah, the only problem was they missed the mark on Black Widow. Sadly, they made her too damsel in distressy.
I really liked her in. They were onto a winner in Winter Soldier, where they start to really explore her background.
She was great in Winter Soldier,
She
which
was
is why
awesome.
the Avengers 2 was a bit of a letdown, really.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say I don't feel she was some sort of anti-feminist character. I think the characterization just wasn't as strong as she had been previously, which surprises me for Whedon because look at the characters he has worked on. He's very clearly a strong feminist creator. So I mean, I don't think anyone should be run off the internet for making a mistake. It's clearly he just didn't write her as well as he could have.
Yeah,
And also, he's not the sole writer on those movies.
No.
So
And also, he answers to a board of producers and like a production team who are going to have a say in what the script. I mean, that's why fucking Edgar Wright got rid of for Ant-Man.
in any movie this day and age, what you're seeing as the end result, has gone through a filter of hundreds of people before we see it. So Joss
Yeah.
Whedon's vision might have been completely different to what we ultimately saw.
Well, sometimes I watch films and think, I wonder what happened in draft 1 of the script.
Yeah.
And I think in Avengers 2, I reckon in draft 1, Jeremy Renner's family died.
Do
or
you
something.
think they killed Quicksilver as a fuck you to Fox, who owned the rights to X-Men?
Well, you or Ali, I think it was Ali who thinks he's not dead.
Well, I said he may not be dead, although they have come out and explicitly said he is dead. But
Yeah.
I just remind our listeners, we're talking about a comic book movie. In comic books, characters quite often come
Yeah,
back from
die
the
and come
dead.
back,
So I don't think there's any guarantee, but I feel like Marvel are trying their hardest to screw over Fox.
Well, it's kind of like, it's a power play. It's like, listen, these are our characters, and we can do whatever the fuck we want with them.
Well, the only reason they can put them in is because they exist as a part of the Avengers team in certain comic books.
And they're not the X-Men.
They're not exclusively X-Men. Whereas they have recently, in the comic books, retconned the Scarlet Witch and... a retcon is where you change something from someone's past, so you change their current.
Oh, okay.
So, if a character dies, you can retcon it. Most famously, I can think of, one of the biggest retcons was in Spider-Man.
Is that what Madame Web does?
In some ways, yes. Following Civil War, Peter Parker unmasks himself.
Yeah.
This causes his family to be hunted, so he goes to, I think it's Doctor Strange, who does a enchantment that allows him to go back to before he unmasked, but it means that his past will change. Now, a lot of people are angry with this because and admittedly, the One More Day storyline is shocking for how it retcons things.
Okay.
Exploring a world where Peter Parker is known as Spider-Man could have led to so many amazing stories, but they unfortunately
went back on themselves.
The status quo in comic books has to be maintained. There are no wild, even Civil War, which is a fantastic graphic novel, ultimately has no impact really, because they're so afraid of doing something out there, which is why maybe some of the greatest graphic novels were in the 80s when things got darker, so like The Dark Knight Returns and
Sure.
Watchmen and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is
Dark Knight Returns is one of my favourites.
it's very good, although I Frank Miller is a bit
Racist?
moving on, because he is, but they've in the comic books they've retconned their past, so they've actually matched it up to the comic books. So now they weren't Magneto's kids; they were created in a lab.
I was really hoping that they would open it. I mean, I think it's been confirmed that that's not the case, but I was hoping they were going down the route of going, right, well, they were experimented on, leave it at that. Later on, they could come back and say, oh, actually, they were like this from birth, and by the way, here's their dad, Magneto.
They can't put Magneto
Magneto,
in.
did you hear what I called him?
You-
Hello, my
you-
name's Magneto.
Come to McDonald's and get 6 Magnetos. No, they can't do Magneto, though, because he is very explicitly an X-Men character.
Yeah.
What I mean is, I wonder if maybe they've... in the comic books, when Spider-Man, the first movie, came out by Sam Raimi, he has organic web shooters. He doesn't... In the comic books, he builds web shooters.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's organic. It's part of his powers.
Yeah.
In the comic books, they changed it to match up so that new readers would recognise the Spider-Man from the movies.
But then in the Amazing Spider-Man films, he builds them again
Yeah,
himself.
they tried to bring it like that. So I wonder if maybe they've tried to bring the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in line with the movies by retconning their past.
Ah.
Although some people have put it out there that potentially by changing their past, they're no longer mutants. So then they can say, well, actually, Fox, you can't use Quicksilver in your next movie.
Oh, so they're taking them away.
I hope they don't, because it's a really dick move. As much as I love Marvel, they can be a little bit dicky.
It's weird that they sold so many of their franchises to different...
This was before there was superhero movies were big, though.
Well, they've got Spider-Man for the...
In a way, though, not having Spider-Man and X-Men, I've said this before, means that they took risks on things like Guardians of the Galaxy. If they own Spider-Man, which is a sure thing, I don't think Ant-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy would exist.
No.
Because they'd be like,
we don't need it yet.
We don't need to. Well,
it's like if you think of,
ever.
if you look at your arsenal of what you've got to use and abuse, it's like Ant-Man and Guardians are on a shelf at the back that you don't think
Guardians might not have ever... I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know that Guardians would ever have happened if they were making Spider-Man and X-Men movies. It just wouldn't be part of their universe. So I'm glad that other people owned it. And actually, for all its faults, the Amazing Spider-Man movies aren't that bad. They're
my
not
my
great.
favourite Spider-Man movie, as we've spoken about, is Spider-Man 2.
Sam Raimi's stuff, yeah.
With fucking Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus.
Best
I would
villain
love
in a
to
movie
see
ever.
You talked about it last time. I can't remember what it's called, but when he becomes the Superior Spider-Man, what's that storyline?
Dr. Ock swaps bodies with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Superior Spider-Man.
Is it?
That's
Okay.
the arc.
Yeah.
I tell you what I'll do. I will give you rather generously my login to Marvel Unlimited, and you can look at it on your computer.
That'd be cool.
I've
Can you get on your iPad?
Yeah, I don't know how many apps you're allowed, but I'll check it out and then let you have one because I only need one. So, but yeah, you can read as much comics as you want.
That'd be awesome.
So, Spider-Man 2, very good.
Listen, to sum up Age of Ultron, because we got a bit sidetracked, I think we've reviewed it quite a lot. I think there wasn't enough collateral damage. It was too much of a setup for the next phase. It didn't have the charm that the first one did.
No.
But that being said, it did do well in showing the superhumanity and the just average humanity and vulnerability of the human race.
Yes.
It showed the arrogance of Tony Stark. It
Definitely.
showed the what would you want to call it? Like the existentialism of Thor.
Thor, I
showed-
felt like wasn't represented as much as the other characters, but I was going to say most of the characters had a fairly good arc in that film.
Well, it did, and it showed the existentialism of Thor, and it showed the battle of good and evil of Captain America, of how he needs to fight for what's good and what's free, which is fucking leave AI alone, don't play God. Which is, whether or not you think it's right or wrong, it's right in the eyes of Captain America, who's from the fucking 40s.
Here's my...
And one more thing. The Hulk, it's fear. The Hulk, it's all about, I'm scared.
Mark Ruffalo's always great.
He's always
He just
great.
brings such a weight to that character.
He does, and I think the Hulk is the most tragic character. He's clearly the best character in the Avengers.
Yeah, I've told the story about how my brother stood up during the first film when you first see the Hulk, and he shouted in the middle of a packed cinema, "It's the Hulk!" He what was I going to say? I had something good to say, but I forgot.
You did. It was.
Oh, if you really want to watch a film about how frightening AI can be, go watch Ex Machina.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's incredibly.
Oh, is it on
tense.
Netflix?
No, it only came out last year. It's out on Blu-ray this Friday.
Is that based
I think.
on a game?
No, it's nothing to do with a game. It's a brand new
I'm
film.
thinking of Deus Ex.
But I will probably buy it so we can watch it sometime and maybe review it on the podcast because it's
I like that.
really tense and
What do you
gripping.
think of iRobot, the film?
It's okay.
I like it.
Changes the book a little bit, but
Yeah,
it's
it
okay. It was made at a time when special effects were coming into their own, and also Will Smith was a big thing.
Did you know that the robot is the I've forgotten his name now. He was in Firefly, and he was in Death at a Funeral.
Oh yeah, I know who.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
He was I can't remember the name of the robot.
I forget, but
it was really good.
Put
I
it
really
alongside
liked
sort of movies like that and Minority Report, which is probably one of Tom Cruise's better movies. I don't really like Tom Cruise.
Oh, but have you seen Oblivion?
No, I've still not watched it. But that's on Amazon, I think.
Wait, hold up right there. Distract them again.
Where are you going?
I'm going here.
Why do you keep doing this to me? I'm not talented enough to run the mic on my own.
I've got it on Blu-ray.
Oh wow.
And I will lend it to you.
Thank you.
Because
I'll check it out.
Watch it tomorrow if you can. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
Probably won't be able to watch it tomorrow because Tom will be here.
Oh fuck yeah!
I will watch it soon because I've heard very good things.
I really like it.
I like sci-fi.
Oh really? I didn't get that impression.
Actually, I don't really like anything geeky. I'm kind of a down-to-earth kind of guy.
We're kind of down to earth. We just like business and going to work and eating sandwiches.
I only ever watch documentaries.
We're a couple of bros. We like drinking and bitches, and sometimes drinking bitches.
Yep, exactly. Can I say something?
Yes. Right now.
No, I just wanted to be silent and be like, can I say something and then not say something? I thought it'd be funny, but it's not.
Oh, well, I get it now.
Yeah, it was good. Good.
It was good.
What else shall we talk about?
We shall talk about this. I'm just looking at my list. Unfriended.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I can't read my own fucking writing.
That was great, wasn't it?
That was would you call it a horror movie? Yeah, I guess it is.
Shall we give Avengers a score and then give Unfriended a score?
Okay, the Avengers score.
For me, I think it's a 6.5 out of 10.
I was going to say 7. And
yeah,
that
okay,
makes
7.
Sense
yeah, all right. So the consensus from BeardWags is 7.
If the first Avengers was a 9, with Interstellar as a 10,
Yeah, I would say so.
Not that they're in the same sort of categories at all, but I would say, yeah, 7 for Avengers
Yeah, when
2.
you rate a film, you have to rate it based on the genre it's in. So, like Unfriended, from me, will probably get quite a high score.
Yeah.
But that's because it's a horror. If you compare it to the Avengers, it's a completely different kettle of fish. Your face was hilarious when you took a gulp of your drink.
I just splashed some of it back in my face. Oh, it went up my nose.
Unfriended. When I first saw the trailer for Unfriended, I thought, this looks bad.
Well, some people may not know about it, so just talk about what you first thought, and I'm going to get the synopsis up.
So Unfriended, I saw the trailer and I thought, this looks like a bad found footage movie. I don't like found footage.
An example is Paranormal Activity, which was underwhelming.
Activity. Underwhelming? That's being far too positive.
Well, the first one was fine because it was new in its category.
No, it wasn't fine. It was 80 minutes of waiting for something to happen.
I think it was either Mark Kermode or Charlie Brooker who said this. They did an impression and they were like, "This is Paranormal Activity." Boo.
Yeah, it is.
Boo.
No, but it's not even 2 boos. It's 1 boo at the end of 80 minutes.
And it's like a baby.
As I've said before, my highlight of that whole film was at the end when the big scary thing happened and no one was shocked. Someone stood up and went, "That was shit," and just walked off. Best thing about that movie.
Hey, that's weird.
Yeah.
Unfriended apparently is called Cybernatural. I don't know if that's the
I thought that was a
American title.
working title.
Was it?
Yeah, I thought it had a few working titles.
That's so weird. On IMDb, it's Cybernatural.
Maybe in
Says
some countries it's called
maybe
that.
it is,
Maybe
yeah.
like it just came out in somewhere like Australia and it's called Cybernatural or
Well,
something.
there you go. So I'll read the synopsis.
Go on.
While video chatting one night, 6 high school friends receive a Skype message from a classmate who killed herself exactly 1 year ago.
Ooh.
At first, they think it's a prank, but when the girls start revealing their friends' darkest secrets, they realize they are dealing with something out of this world, something that wants them dead.
Oh my god.
Told entirely from a young girl's computer desktop, Cybernatural redefines found footage for a new generation of teens. I would agree with all of that.
Yeah, although I don't think just teens. I think
No.
good for everyone. Do you know what? The first thing I thought when I left was, this is the perfect movie for the age of the internet troll.
Yeah, it is. And what I think we both had the same thought. Like you said, when you first heard it, you were like, I'm intrigued to see that because I don't know enough about what it could be to say that that's going to be bad.
It wasn't just your run-of-the-mill horror movie. Because I guess in some ways it was, but it also dealt with a deeper issue, which is internet bullying.
It had a few jumpy bits, but the whole film throughout made you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was more
And
mesmerising.
it made you feel perverse for being a part of the conversation that
Yeah.
these friends were having.
I found it more mesmerising. I don't think I jumped when the so-called scary things happened, and you almost felt like you didn't even need them in there. It was such a captivating film that I don't know if I'd call it horror. I guess it's bare bones. It's a horror film, but it's not really about that. It's really
It's a psychological thriller, you could call it, because
surprisingly deep for what would I'm
Yeah.
sure some people will see it and go, oh, that was just a bit of a jumpy movie, but I guess for people who are plugged in, it's quite a deep movie.
it's the kind of thing that I imagine people coming out of going, oh, that was shit, it was just based entirely on a computer screen.
Yeah.
But for us, we appreciated that as a new, interesting, unique way to deliver cinema.
Yeah, and we live in an age where every other week you're hearing a story about someone getting bullied off the internet, be they celebrity or just normie like us.
Yeah.
So it's very relevant, I feel.
I think so.
I just thought it was great. It was really good. You go see it now. Stop
Go
what
and
you're
see it.
doing and see it, and then listen to the rest of this podcast afterwards.
Yes, press the pause button, see Unfriended, come back and hear us say boobies.
Yeah, boobies. No, it was good.
What would you give it out of 10?
I'd probably go 8.5 to 9.
Oh, I was going 8, so I'm lower than you this time.
Yeah, I think.
But based on my when we said okay, we'll go and see it, I was expecting to be underwhelmed.
Yeah, me
and I was
too.
expecting like maybe 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. But I really enjoyed it. There wasn't a time when I was like, I wonder when this is going to finish.
No, it's one of those films where you aren't aware how much you're enjoying it until afterwards.
Absolutely.
I just kind of was sitting there going, for ages, kind of mesmerised, and then at the end I was like, I like that.
Do you know that? I think you're exactly right. There's the kind of films where as soon as it finishes, you sit there for like 2 seconds and you've got a moment to think, and you're like, yeah, that was good. Do you know what I mean?
End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal was one of those sorts of movies.
I want to watch that.
It's I'm not big on found footage. That's similar. It's filmed from a camera that's on a police car bonnet.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's.
I don't think I've ever seen a film with Jake Gyllenhaal that I haven't loved. Brokeback Mountain is one of my all-time favourite films.
Yeah.
And I think Source Code is as well. Donnie Darko,
Source
obviously.
Code's great. Even a film that isn't that great, I still really enjoyed and thought he was good in, like Prince of Persia. I actually think it's a good film.
Yeah, I do as well. It's fun.
He's my girlfriend loves Jake Gyllenhaal, and so do I. He's just one of those people where when you see a film coming out from him, you're like, got to go see it. And End of Watch had a very limited release, so we were lucky to see it at the cinema. But
Yeah,
kind
it
of
went under the radar a bit.
afterwards was just like, I think it might be, and I might be exaggerating, one of the most powerful movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Go watch it. So yeah, I'd give Unfriended an 8.5, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd give it an 8. So The Avengers was 6.5 to 7.
Yeah.
And Unfriended 8 to 8.5. But remember, they're in their respective categories.
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
So I think ultimately Avengers is a better film in terms of the production value and the story and what it is. But Unfriended was so unique and so refreshing for the genre that it gets a higher score.
Well, Unfriended is a better film as an entity by itself. The Avengers has certainly a higher production quality. But yeah, I mean, I would say, although they're not the same thing, I enjoyed Unfriended more.
Me too.
Good.
Are you ready
Yeah.
for Steve is a fucking nerd?
Yeah, I'm well ready.
Steve is a fucking nerd.
Do 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 do.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's good.
What I was going for. Do you know what it's about? Have you peeked at my book?
No, I've not looked at your book.
I know, I'm just asking, dude.
No, I can't see that ginormous, great big.
1 word per page.
Yeah, it's like a whiteboard.
Every episode I have to get a pad for each episode
Yeah.
because my writing's so big. The theme for this Steve is a fucking nerd is Stephen King's Dark Tower series.
Oh God,
Your jam.
I haven't read that in ages.
Me neither. And they're going to be tough questions, but I know you're a fan. But I also know that if you don't get them, it's not your fault because you never know what these questions are going to be.
No, I don't.
And it's not because you don't know the answers. It's because you haven't been told and can't revise, basically.
Yeah, that's good though.
So,
Yeah.
number 1
Mm-hmm.
of Steve is a fucking nerd.
Yep.
Name the Dark Tower books in order of publication.
All right. Gunslinger,
Yep.
Drawing of the Free,
Yep.
The Wastelands,
Yep.
Wizard and Glass,
Yep.
Wolves of Calla, Song of
Yep.
Susanna,
Yep.
and The Dark Tower.
Yep.
That's it. Oh, and Wind Through the Keyhole.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I like I said, I think that one chronologically comes between
4 and
Wizard and
5.
Glass and
Yeah, 4 and 5.
yeah. So I wanted to say do it in terms of publication.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is 5 points. That's 1 point. No, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're on 7 points.
Nice.
And we've already done one question, so that's it.
I've won. Stop it now.
Yeah.
There's no point doing anymore.
Question number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I just realised the answers were back
Oh,
there.
I'm not looking.
What animal is Jake's pet Oi?
Oh God, it's
It's not a real animal, it's a fictional animal. That looks a bit like an anteater. It's got a long snout.
it's Bumble something.
Yeah.
Bumble. I don't think I'm gonna get the second half.
Well, I'll give you a clue. Bumble is the second half. Bumbler is the second half.
Oh, Billy Bumbler.
Yeah, Billy Bumbler. You can have the point for that.
Oi.
Oi.
I love that thing.
How did you imagine him saying it?
Kind of like a little bit like oi.
Yeah.
Oi. Yeah.
Oi.
Like when some animals make noises, it's quite quick, like oi.
Oi.
Or if it's in pain, like oi.
Okay. Ready for number 3?
Yeah.
And the description I've used of it is the description on the Wikipedia page for list of characters.
Brilliant.
It's really funny. You'll know when you hear it. What is the name of the demented train in the Wastelands and Wizard and Glass? It's a train with a personality, and he uses poison gas to take out
Yeah,
the whole town.
and they riddle with him.
Yeah.
Um,
Just to update the listeners.
fuck.
Do you want a clue?
Go on.
It begins with B.
Blaine.
The
Terror Train.
Mono.
Yeah,
Blaine the Mono.
Blaine the Mono. But that's not his name. It's just Blaine.
Blaine. Yeah, well,
but
I mean,
they call him Blaine the Terror Train, right?
do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There's a song by a band called Demons and Wizards, which is made up of part Blind Guardian, part Iced Earth, and they've done a whole album on the Dark Tower. It's called The
have they?
Crimson King, and there's a song
yes,
called
I've
Terror
heard that,
Train.
yeah. I actually was in a pub, in the toilet in a pub in a cubicle, and I read "All Hail the Crimson King"
That's amazing.
and I was like, "Wow, that's
Some graffiti on a wall somewhere in Worthing is the eye of the
Really?
tower.
that's so cool." Okay. Question number 4.
Doesn't Blaine have a girlfriend?
Yeah, it's called Your Mum.
Hey-o.
I don't know, does he?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Because doesn't it start in the
Blaine
book when they're reading a kid's book about this really...
Yeah, it's choo-choo, like...
Yeah, and in the images, the train looks really sinister, but it's meant to be quite a nice kid's story.
Yeah.
I love those books.
I was thinking about them today. I want to reread them again.
I need to pick up the omnibus of the Gunslinger comic books.
Well, there's a question about that.
Go.
But not yet.
Not yet. All right, did he have a question?
Number 4
Yeah.
is... So, hang on. You're on 7, 8, 9 points.
Cool.
Question number 4. How old was Stephen King when he wrote The Gunslinger?
19.
Yes, that's an easy one because that's a prominent theme throughout the books.
And
19 is actually my unlucky number because of those books. I remember reading them thinking, I wish this was real and I want to be a part of it.
the introduction in the revised edition of The Gunslinger is called On Being 19.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And it's like him talking about... Actually, did he write that when he was 19 or is it like a reflection of when he was 19?
I'm sure he started writing it when he was 19.
He's fucking... Oh, I'd love to meet him.
I remember one of my friends saying to me once that his best mate or someone did a literature course at like Oxford or Harvard or something like that. And in the meeting for the course, the tutor said, if you're the kind of person that reads Stephen King, you can leave now.
Why?
I mean, how snobby is that?
But he's a really good writer.
It's because he's perceived as being a pulp writer, which in a lot of ways he is, but what's wrong with pulp?
He writes a lot, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with pulp as a
Fuck off. Who
genre.
said that? I'm going to beat him up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the Dark Tower series I would rate it up there as one of the best fantasy series ever.
It is, yeah. And do you know, I'm so sad that they've got, like, they had ideas for movies and for TV series. J.J. Abrams was involved.
Well, it's going to be a
got
movie, TV series, TV series.
I think they should stick to TV series throughout, and I think it would be in fucking
or even just test.
Actually, wasn't Quick who did The Orphanage? The Spanish guy, Del Toro.
Del Toro, yeah.
I thought he was signed on to do them.
And so was Howard as well.
Ron Howard?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he was, wasn't he?
Do you know what? Test the waters. Do like a 10-episode miniseries. Although I kind of feel, in a way, you might have to glaze over The Gunslinger a little bit because it's very slow going.
Listen, this is my point of view. The Gunslinger is a badly written book.
Yeah, you can tell it was written by someone quite young. I don't think it's necessarily a bad book.
I think it should start with the drawing of the three, and the second book should be The Gunslinger, purely because the drawing of the three, I remember really being able to visualize what was happening.
Well, I just feel like The Gunslinger should more be like an epilogue to the drawing of the three. Although the comic book does a very good job of expanding it out and making it more accessible. Plus, it has my favourite moment of the whole series in it, which is when Jake falls and he says, "Go then, there are worlds other than these." Just before he falls. One of my favourite quotes from a book ever. Yeah. I used to write it like on my textbooks at school or something. I was like, "Look, go then, there are worlds other than these."
Your teachers must have been like, "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Steve. We need to talk about your son."
Mr. and Mrs. Steve.
I mean, fucking white.
Is this Steve's parents?
Is this Steve of the Steve household?
Quick, get me a cup of tea. I need to talk about Steve.
Do you want your last question?
Go on.
Question number 5.
Yeah.
It's about the comic books, and it's a hard one.
Okay.
For 1 point,
name
one of the 2 artists for the comic book series, and for 2 points, name both of them.
Jay Lee.
Yep.
Jaeele Lee.
Yep, Jay Lee.
There's been Jay Lee and I'm not too sure actually.
His first name begins with R.
I don't think I'm going to get that.
His first name is Richard.
Oh, Immonen, Richard Immonen. Is it?
Isanova.
Oh, Richard Isanove.
Isanove.
No, but it doesn't Isanove do the colours?
Oh, it was just listed as an artist.
Oh, I think it's Jay Lee on art and Isanove on...
Is it like in...
Mallrats.
Yeah, in Mallrats.
Yeah,
He's
you're
the
the
tracer.
Inca, yeah.
He's the Inca.
No, well, maybe Isanove did do some art, actually. The reason that threw me is because the Gunslinger Born series is all Jay Lee, but the new stuff is a new artist. But you are right, Richard Isanove. I don't know if he did art or colours.
Well, they were the only two ones listed as in artists.
Yeah.
So
Jay Lee's a phenomenal artist.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
I missed the
12.
last one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 11.
Isanove.
11 out of 12
That's
for the
pretty good
Gunslinger.
going. That's good going.
And that is because I wanted to draw attention to that. Is for both of us. We both read it a long time ago, and they are very important books to us. Like, to me, it was what really got me interested in sagas. I read Harry Potter, obviously, that goes without saying, that was awesome, but the Gunslinger really made me question my own existence. That sounds really deep and stupid, but the fact that it was so meta, and the fact that Kevin Smith, what's his name? Stephen King put himself into the books, put Father Callahan from Salem's Lot into it. He got really deep.
I don't know if I like himself in it. It's one of my what I perceive as one of the weaknesses of the books.
Oh,
Because
really?
he backed himself into a corner and he didn't have anywhere else to go, so he had to find a way out, and he put himself in.
I liked it though. I think it's brave. I thought it was brave.
I just feel like that might be the one point. What do they call it when you have no?
Well, he
else
was
to
an
go?
alcoholic. Is an alcoholic, so he's probably
No, he's
drunk.
not anymore. I'm sure
Well,
he's
I guess
clean.
apparently you're always an alcoholic.
Oh, really? I know. Well,
I mean, I'm not saying he's not clean, but I think apparently it's wrong to say I was an alcoholic. You have to always say it.
He used to write, listen to heavy metal, like Metallica and stuff, and do cocaine whilst he was writing.
He talks about the I think it actually is in the Gunslinger, in the Dark Tower series, where he gets hit by that van. Which
there
is
was a
obviously
massive gap between book 4 and 5.
Yeah. And he puts the being hit by the van into the story, doesn't he?
Well,
and also that's no.
Well, he actually
I
stopped.
was going to say it's part of misery, but it's not.
He didn't stop because of being hit by the van. He'd actually stopped years before. So he did 4 books and then he just stopped. And after the accident,
he came back.
That was when he considered doing more. And also, he just had so many requests to carry on the story. And actually, in all honesty, there is a telling difference in quality between 1 to 4 and 5 to 7. 1 to 4, maybe the Gunslinger excluded, so 2 to 4 are phenomenal. I'm not saying the others aren't, but you can tell there's a difference in the quality of writing.
So you're talking about Gunslinger, Drong of the Three, Wastelands, and Wizard and Glass
as being stronger than the back end.
Well, Wolves of the Colour is basically his Roland's background story, the whole thing.
And
the same with Wizard and Glass.
Well, it's the sequel to The Priest, isn't it? Wizard and Glass is the Gunslinger's origin. It's Wolves of Colour is the sequel to Salem's Lot.
Yeah, and
where Father Callahan tells you what happens
Jake
after.
Learns to do the plates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not saying they're not good books.
I really want to read them
There's
again.
a telling difference in quality between the two.
Yeah.
They're doing the Drawing of the Three as a comic book at the moment.
Oh, sick.
I'm just going to wait. Have I shown you the omnibus I've got of the first lot? Massive, great
I've
big
only
tome.
got the Gunslinger Born down there somewhere.
You can borrow it sometime if you want to read it.
Yeah.
It's everything from the Gunslinger Born, so it covers his origin.
Yeah.
And then they did the Gunslinger, the book, as a comic, and now they're doing Drawing of the Three. It was good times.
Awesome. So yeah, you did well.
Thank you.
If you're interested in reading these books, it's called the Dark Tower series. The first one is called the Gunslinger. You can find them anywhere. They're in most action. To be honest, still to this day, they take up a majority of the sci-fi section.
Yeah, they do
bookshops.
take up a chunk, yeah. Well, I don't know. It depends where they put it. You might find it under general fiction or horror, because they tend to put Stephen King in horror, so...
They do, but I find they separate the Dark Tower stuff, which is good. Stephen King is a good writer, and everyone who thinks he's not should reconsider their opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, that's all got pretty intense.
Yeah, it did.
It's been... like, we've both had a drink, and you'd think that would make us more fun, but really we're just talking more in depth about the things that we're passionate about.
That's true.
let's lighten it up a bit.
Yeah, we'll save some educating for next time.
You've got a lot of educating.
Got a lot. Look, this is how you use a pad properly, mate.
You've got such nice writing. I've said this before, but it's true, man.
You coming on to me?
Can you write my will for me?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Your memoirs.
My memoirs. But like, Alex's, what would your autobiography be called?
Blood on a Tissue.
Oh yeah, you've already said that. I don't know what mine would be. I think it would be like, what the hell do you want, or something.
Yeah.
Or like the abortion my mum never had. Or
I only
something.
say that because for a while I had to take these tablets to help me with depression, which is something I haven't talked about. So just to make it a bit darker.
Oh yeah, just to lighten it up, as we said.
I had to take some tablets, some really strong tablets, and they gave me really bad, painful poos, and it used to make my bum bleed. And I just remember once, and I'm not talking just your general poo that hurts. This was excruciatingly painful.
General poo that hurts. Nice to meet you.
Excruciating.
Did they like come out like sideways logs?
They wouldn't come out. It wasn't even constipation. It was like pouring acid up your ass. It was that painful.
How do you know what that feels like?
Because I've done it. So I had to go to toilet, but it hurt a lot.
Had to go to toilet.
Yeah. So I would sit there and genuinely cry in pain.
Oh,
and
that makes me sad.
I remember
actually,
once
to hear
wiping
that.
my bum and just going, if I ever write an autobiography, it's going to be called Blood on the Tissue. Because my arse was bleeding from pain.
There you go.
Nice and depressing.
That is depressing. What would mine be called? I think, like
it
in
would
The
have
Office,
to be a pun title.
It would have to be like it would. Yeah, I'll think about it and get back to you. It would be like in The Office. Michael Scott is like, he wants it to be called Somehow I Manage, with him in a picture of him shrugging on the cover. But I don't know. I'd probably call it like Alex is a fucking legend.
I don't think you get to pick the title because, I guess if you write it whilst you're alive, I'm just thinking.
Well,
I'm thinking probably come up with a title because I'm going to kill you, and then I'll write it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There'll be lots of stories about how we had sex. 50 Shades of Alex.
50. Yeah. Or it could be like shitting in the shower, the Steve and Alex relationship story.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell an embarrassing story? You're itching to tell it.
Do you know what? I'm not actually. I'm not.
Are you a bit nervous?
I feel like after my story about wanking in a petrol station that you haven't told a nearly
I've told you about
embarrassing
fucking feeling up a girl's boobies when my dad walked in.
Yes, that's not as embarrassing as coming onto a porno in a petrol station and then putting it back on the shelf. That's like
my dad caught the hand God gave us.
My dad caught me doing what all teenagers do, which is feeling up a boob. I mean, if the story would be more embarrassing if you went, my dad caught me filling up my cousin's boobies or something,
Okay, well, I have an embarrassing penis-related story for next time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, no, tell it now.
No, it's your turn.
It's not. I haven't. All right, so, oh my God, it's Andrew. If you're listening to this, your son is a part of this story. His name's Thomas Wright. Me and him are buds. We go way back.
So, Andrew, if you don't want to be embarrassed by the antics of your son,
stop it now.
Turn off.
I think he'll love it because he can message Tom and just be like, I heard that story.
Hey,
that you
little cunt, I'm your dad.
We were teenagers.
We all were
happens.
at some point.
You get horny, don't you? And I don't know how, me and Tom were at points probably quite perverted together. Like we didn't wank each other off in a shower or anything, but I remember we were talking once about, one of us must have heard that having a wank in a condom is good.
Oh yeah, it's not
like a luxury wank. Well, we both decided that it would be a good idea to have a luxury wank into a condom.
Into the same one.
Imagine that. This story isn't actually that embarrassing because you've already said you had a wank into a condom, but we were about 15 at the time, so we went to Sainsbury's. Right, and we bought.
That's the best start to any embarrassing story.
We bought a box of condoms and some lube. Two guys.
Condoms are pre-lubricated though.
Yeah, but we didn't know that, did we?
No, I guess you want all the lube you can get if you're wanking into a posh.
We were like, divvied up the pornographic materials because oh my God!
Who bought it? How old were you?
15, I think.
Well, how did you get?
You're allowed to buy condoms if you're underage, aren't you?
No, but I thought porn mags.
No, he already had the porn.
Oh, okay.
So we divvied it up. I was like, oh, I like this one. I'll put it into the bedroom. Oh my God. Like I stayed in a different bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was his sister's bedroom.
Oh shit. Oh no, does she listen?
I don't know, but his dad's probably going to be infuriated to hear this. Is
she fit?
No comment. Nia, if you're listening, hey baby. Right. So we bought these condoms and lube, and like we were kind of deciding who should pay for them, and we were both bottling it out, and we were bright red. And in the end, I'm sure some cashier was just like, "You gonna buy that or what?" Like,
You gonna buy those Johnnies, mate?
so it's not even that embarrassing because then we just bought lube and condoms, and it's sinister, isn't it, that we were like, right, you go in that room, I'll go in this room, and we'll have a wank. Like, we both knew we were wanking at the same time, and that didn't bother us. Like, if you said to me now, I'm just going to go in there and have a wank, I'd probably be a bit like...
You'd be like, I'll leave you to it. I'm going to go home, play The Witcher 3.
So we took our condoms and lube and just went and had...
Hang on, did you only buy one thing of lube? So did you have to, like, divvy it out between you first? Like, pour a bit into each other's hands first?
I think we might have had to divvy out the lubrication.
What
I
if you
might
had, like,
have even poured the lube into the condom and treated it like some sort of slippery
That's a
fuck
good idea.
bucket.
Slippery fuck bucket. That's my new nickname.
And so we went into... It's not as embarrassing as jizzing on a porno, I don't think, but we went into separate rooms and did our business, and then afterwards we like met up to compare notes on it.
No, at least you
We were
didn't
like,
compare semen.
All right, how did that go? And I was like, oh, it wasn't as good as wanking with your hand. And I think we just decided that after that we'd just use the lube on our hands.
Yeah.
And then
What
afterwards,
a waste of prophylactics.
yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, I guess maybe...
I don't know why I did it. I think I was bored once at uni, and I was like, "Hey, I've got these," and no one else is using them.
Yeah,
So
it is a weird one. I mean, we were like underage at the time as well, I think. The woman who was selling to us probably thought we were gay.
Oh, well.
And in a way, it probably would have been a better use
You
of the
probably
condom.
would have had more pleasure from.
Fucking each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably would have been more enjoyable.
I think you may as well have done that.
My biggest regret is that I didn't sleep with Tom, is what I'm saying. Because, we were probably about as close to each other as we are now through a wall, touching ourselves.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, look, I don't think there's anything wrong. I remember going on to, Taste of Chaos. They used to do festivals called Taste of Chaos.
Yeah.
Went to that with a couple of friends. We stayed at a travel lodge or Premier Inn or something. And two of us shared a room. The other two shared another room. We went in to see what they were up to. And the chair had a coat. One of the chairs had a coat draped over it and was up on the desk blocking the mirror. And we were like, what's that doing up there? And they had twin beds next to each other. And they were like, oh, we wanted to have a wank, but we didn't want to accidentally see each other. So we blocked the mirror.
Oh, God.
And it was so weird. We didn't believe them. We were like, were you actually doing that? Or was it just to wind us up? But, we were teens and we were like all randy. So
Yeah, exactly. You have the drive
That's what
where
you do.
you don't care. But then afterwards... The weirdest thing is we met up and compared notes. Like, we had a fairly serious discussion about how it felt to wank off into a condom.
Fair enough.
I
I
mean-
mean, that's considerate that you share. It was like, oh, for me, it felt like a bit sort of like dragging a wet fish through some sandpaper.
It wasn't even wet. I mean, it genuinely was like jerking off with a Tesco bag. Like,
Again, how do you know? Hey, where have all my Tesco bags gone?
coming soon, more embarrassing stories. Steve jizzes into a Tesco's bag and then uses it for his shopping.
Oh my God. All right, I'll tell you mine.
Go on.
It's a brief one. As an adolescent, I was working the peen.
Yeah, you're having a wank.
Yeah.
We've just
And-
talked about coming into condoms. You can say having a wank.
Oh my God, people are going to listen to
You're-
this.
Well, come on now.
I know,
I
but
don't think
listen.
any story's going to top what happened, what I told, and people have already commented on it. So
So this was happening, and I was about 16, so normal teenager.
you were going
Angst.
at it with the intensity of a furious monkey searching for nits in his mate's head.
Yeah, but listen, I was in the bath. Have you ever done that in the bath?
Probably
Slippery.
slippery. Yeah.
My hand slipped, went too far up, pulled too far down again. Got a little tear, didn't I?
That's not embarrassing. I've done that.
No, but that's not the worst part. It bled constantly.
Yeah, it does.
I had to say to my mum, who was there at the time, I'd got out. I was like, I was washing it, and I slipped, and it won't stop bleeding. What shall I do? And she was like, and I was really worried because there was a lot of blood, and I was only young. And she was like, "Oh, that's okay." And when sort of got my dad to deal with it. And he was like, "What happened?" And I basically used the excuse I was cleaning it and it went off.
Yeah.
And my parents, he was like, "Okay, oh, it happens. Don't worry. Just keep it, keep pressure on it, and it will stop bleeding eventually." I was worried I was going to have to go to hospital and have my dick amputated or something. But I was thinking back on it the other day and thinking, he obviously knew I was having a tug.
Yeah.
Everyone does it.
I have a story that's fairly similar to that, actually. I won't take up too much time, but I was
watching you wank off and I started bleeding.
With a sexual partner, we were doing it at a fairly intense angle, and I was wearing a cock ring, and I was wearing one of the bigger ones that goes around your balls and your cock.
Oh, no.
And I was wearing two, one that goes around your balls and your shaft, and one that goes around your shaft. So
You've told me about this before.
My cock
You have
was
such
like
intricate relationships with toys.
my
of the
cock was
sexual
like
nature.
a baseball bat, and we were doing it standing up, so I had to bend my willy, and it fucking it split, and just because
Your willy,
like the bit at the end split.
the banjo string.
Yeah, but in a weird angle, so it was like loads of tears.
Well,
And
that's what happened with the thing. It's
But because it had a cock ring on, it didn't go flaccid, so it just kept bleeding, and I genuinely passed out. And then I went downstairs, and I didn't. Obviously, you were a teenager at the time. I was an adult, and I just went to my mum. I was having sex, and this happened, and she just said, make sure you get lots of sugar. I drank like 2 cans of Pepsi in a row because my willy kept bleeding.
That's such a cool advice from a mum. Oh, you've hurt your cock. Have a can of Coke, mate.
You've hurt your cock. Wait, come on,
Here's a
son.
fucking
Here's a
Carlsberg,
gin-
son. Do you want a fucking Strongbow? I got a fucking anal fissure. Do you want a bloody gin and tonic?
You make it sound like I'm RoboCop or something. You've got loads of stories about toys.
Your mum seems like she's sort of the Peggy Mitchell of the thing. It's like anything she diagnoses with a different drink.
Yeah.
She's like, "What's that? You've got a cold? Yeah, that's a Bloody Mary. I think that will help."
As my mum used to say, Steve, if you split your cock, have a can of Pepsi. That'll cheer you right up. Have a ciggy and a can of Pepsi, and you'll be right as
Yeah.
rain.
Have you been wanking or having sex and torn your penis? Don't worry, enjoy it with Pepsi.
The new Pepsi campaign, I'd love that.
Pepsi, sponsored by Your Cock.
Yeah. New from Cockzilla, Pepsi.
Fantastic. I think Cockzilla is going to stick in my head.
Do you think
that sounds messed up.
Do you think they'll sponsor us? I'm going to ask him.
Cockzilla. Oh, it can't hurt. If you need Viagra, use Cockzilla.
We'll do adverts for them.
Yeah.
I'd do an advert for Cockzilla.
As long as you send free samples.
Do you know what I do want to say is go to our website,
Yeah.
BeardWags.com, because we're going to put some blogs on there now.
Yes.
And also check out Squarespace, what we used. That's some free advertising there.
There you go. Squarespace we used to build our website, and they are the most easy and accessible platform I've ever used to build a
it looks
website.
really good.
They do everything for you, and you just have to make it look cool.
I
to how
remember
you
when I
want.
was a kid learning C++ and HTML and spending about 10 weeks building a website. Now you can do it in like 5 clicks.
Yeah. So thank you, Squarespace.
Yeah, cheers, buds.
Go to squarespace.com and sign up for your website today. It's only like
I don't know, it's like $7 a month or
yeah,
something.
something like that.
But,
Very cheap.
Yeah, and probably if you Google discount code, someone will be running one. I think Russell Brand does one on his podcast.
A lot of people do.
Yeah. So, check out our website, beardwags.com.
Now, here's the important part.
Yeah.
We are on iTunes,
Yes.
and we're doing pretty well. We're trying to work our way up. The only way we can do that further is with you guys.
Yeah.
And what we need from you is, obviously, you're subscribed because you're listening. You may not be because you're listening on YouTube or SoundCloud. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a review, a fair one. We're not saying, say we're great or nothing. Like, what you think. Give us some stars. Write a short review. The more reviews we get, the more we work our way up in the podcast rankings on iTunes, which means we get more listeners, which means we have more of a reason to do this. And it's really fun. And what we want to do is have the means and the necessity.
Wait, you think this is fun?
You've been crying this whole time.
Yeah, I don't even like this podcast.
I don't even like you.
I just do it as a necessity.
Oh yeah, well why
Alex
have you got
holds
an
my
erection?
Yeah, that's true.
No,
I love it.
Yeah, so we'll be able to do more competitions and stuff. One thing I want to do is do a competition for the funniest review.
Yes.
And I don't know what the prize is yet, but we can guarantee you that if you leave us a funny review, we will send you a prize.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is go to
Dog
iTunes.
shit in a bag.
Search, dog shit in a bag on fire. Search BeardWags on iTunes. Obviously, if you want to email us with any questions, it could be like, would you rather, like Harry Clay did, which is very kind. Or it could be a genuine question about your own life that you need answering. But
Yeah.
either way, send it to beardwags@gmail.com.
If you have split your cock and you need to find out how
Yeah.
to deal with it, email us, because we know we've done a bit of cock splitting in our time.
And if you're feeling a little bit iffy, looks like you could do with a stiffy.
Cockzilla.
We are BeardWags. I'm Alex.
I'm Steve.
Thanks for listening.
All right.
Good night.
All right.